If you're trying to build a business, you hang out with business-minded people, and you got to be careful who your circle is. It's a big trigger for your emotional being, for your habits, for your behaviors. You got to be very mindful.
This is Jarvis Morning Hero here, excited with another hero's journey. Today we are with Dr. Lunide Louis. Dr. Louis is a fellow high performance coach, so this should be a really good discussion. She's also a Haitian immigrant, came over to this country, and at the very early age of 10 years old, found herself living in a really impoverished situation over in New York City, found herself sexually abused as a child, not being able to speak the English language well, and just became obsessed with how she could make it in this country. Fast forward, she went on to get her doctorate in psychology and organizational management while sleeping in her car. That shows you a little bit of how her grit and fortitude. And what she found was that she was just stuck at a certain level of achievement and want to know, what is it that allows some people to get full success in life while others found themselves capped out. And she went on a 10-year journey of research of trying to understand achievement and success, and what are the things, the habits, behaviors, and mindsets that keep some people at a certain level while others are able to break through that. And from that research, she went on to create what she calls the habit rewiring technique, which combines neuroscience, behavioral and organizational psychology, neuroscience and linguistic programming, and rapid transformational therapy. So you can see that's why she has a doctorate. She's become obsessed over this, and now she goes on to help entrepreneurs and business owners all over the world who are also found themselves stuck at this certain level and are looking for that extreme breakthrough in their business and in their life. I'm so excited. And oftentimes I'm on the other side. I'm the one giving all the gems, but today I get to be on this side where I get to receive all the gems from Dr. Lunide Louis. Dr. Louis, welcome.
Oh, fantastic. Hi, Jarvis. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I
I am really excited because being talking to another high performance coach, I get a chance to sit here and get coached today. So I'm really I'm really excited for you to change my life today. Let's
oh,
do this.
I'm ready. I have to say I'm a big fan of Morning Hero. I mean, I love your stuff and content, and it's in alignment because you are doing the success principles and changing lives yourself. So I'm really, really looking forward to our conversation today. So thank you for having me
Yeah.
on.
So listen, I want to get down to business. You dedicating your life to this cause of achievement and success, and what are all the things that go into why some people go and do extraordinary things and others don't. Like, since you're an expert on this, I want us today, before we end this conversation, know what your top five things that can allow people to break through and achieve the level of success that they're destined to achieve. But before we dive into your top five, I want to go back and to kind of talk a little bit about your origin story, because you have quite a story, starting off in the conditions that you started off in. Like, anyone else in those situations would not have gone on to do the things that you've done. Walk us through kind of like a little bit of your history, and where are some of the turning points that allowed you to go off and go from not speaking English language to now going on and getting a doctorate and then doing some of the things that you've done. Take us back a little bit and kind of walk us through your journey.
Yeah, of course. So, started out, raised in Haiti and coming into the state, mom, single parent of three. And so she didn't speak English, neither did we. So we had to hurry up as younger kids to learn English to actually help translate everything. Going to school alone was not working at the speed that I liked. And so I would stay up at night reading romance novels in English so I could learn and expedite the process of learning English. It was at that moment I realized if I want something, I'd have to go out and create it. I have to go out and build it. And that stayed in me for a very long time, but life took a turn. Getting molested at a very young age changes something in me. It caused me to not only experience trauma, but actually PTSD that lingered for years. I dealt with that for so many years. Honestly, I think that is why I got into psychology. I
Right.
wanted to heal myself.
Right.
getting my PhD, as you mentioned, I had to decide, do I pay for school or do I get housing? I ended up sleeping in my car for several months because
Wow.
I needed to be able to see this. It was that determination
Where'd you shower?
the school had a public restroom that had a shower in it, and
Wow.
so I would go shower after a run, and that that would be my exercise. I remember one time I had an assignment due, and I had to pick somebody to do a research on, and I picked Nelson Mandela. I remember having to do that presentation, having to worry about where I'm going to sleep, where am I going to shower, and I literally showered on campus, quickly got dressed, ran in, and did my presentation. And after the presentation was done, I was so relieved, so great at my success. And I was like, okay, now I am going to find a blanket and I'm going to wrap myself in it and I'm going to sleep. And it was those moments that
Wow.
shaped me. Those are the moments that actually show you who you really are. When you're really focused, what you're willing to do to achieve the bigger goal. And it stays with me till this moment because it was in those moments I was making my millions. It was in that moment that I was building my purpose. In that moment, so that was my journey coming into learning how successful people thrive. I was at a 9 to 5. I was experiencing adrenal fatigue because working 16-hour days, not feeling joy. I was gaining weight. I was going down this rabbit hole of unhealthiness. And so I said to myself, what are other people doing that is free
Mhm.
in the morning that I can actually start doing to see some type of results, right? Because
Right.
my life right now is just, I'm not happy. And I'm looking at Tony Robbins, looking at Oprah Winfrey, Tom Bilyeu, and then they realized they had success principles, but they did them in the morning. There was something about
Mm.
the morning that actually empowered them. And one of the things that I saw was reading in the morning and working out in the morning and journaling. So I started with that. It was just simple. I woke up and I would read for half hour, and then from reading I would add on meditation for 5 minutes, and then my outlook on life started to change. I was
Really?
calmer. I was I was more social. It's my everything turned in the right direction, and I said there must be something here. So that's how I said, you know what? I wonder who else is experiencing this. I wonder who else I can talk to, and that's what my podcast, Best Morning Routine Ever, started. I set up a platform and I got a mic and I said, who I'm going to talk to successful entrepreneurs. I don't know where they are, I don't know where they are and who they are, but I am going to find them.
That's right.
And
And you know what? I forgot to mention that your podcast is also based on the best morning routine ever. How do you find power in that first hour?
yeah, so power comes from the what you do in the first 10 minutes set the tone for the rest of the day. When you open your eyes, you're in alpha state. There the brain is susceptible. You're receiving suggestions and you are almost like half asleep, half awake, and so the subconscious mind is alert. This
Mm.
is when you would want to do something that is in alignment with your goals, either meditation, affirmations, or reading. Even
Mm.
working out as well can be beneficial. That hour of power that you mentioned for me is waking up, drinking a glass of water. The second piece of it is a meditation. I do 5 minute meditation and actually calm the mind, relaxes me. And then I am off to the races. I'm going for a workout. I'm going for a 30-minute run, or I'm doing a weight training. I'm out the door. And this is before the sun rises. My husband wakes up at 6. I'm up at 4:30. Those three things are non-negotiables for me. Non-negotiable. They have to be done whether I'm on vacation, whether I feel like it, whether my world is falling apart. Those three things needs to get done. Fourth thing, you mentioned the five most important things. It's journaling. The gratitude journal is what are three things I'm grateful for this morning,
Yeah.
and then list them out.
You mentioned you just started kind of piecing this together. How did you come up with this formula for you for your morning routine?
Everyone on the podcast. When I started interviewing, I've interviewed over 1,000 entrepreneurs right now, and everyone that came on the show, there was a reoccurring theme. There were these 9 things that they did that set them apart. I started realizing I put them in an app. I have an app called Hit Savers, and it's adding on to Savers from Hal Harold, because Hal Harold had listed, those 6 things that you
Right.
can do in the morning within 6 minutes to prime yourself for the day.
For people who aren't
Yeah.
familiar with
for
How
sure.
Elrod and the Savers from the Miracle Morning. What are those 6 things?
Savers, S is for scribing, I think, yeah. You're testing my knowledge now. S is
Yeah.
for scribing. It's writing in your journal. Affirmation is the next one, saying powerful statements about yourself. And we can talk a little bit about that because the subconscious mind, we operate out of there, but a lot of time it's negative. We have negative thoughts that just comes up. We have V for visualization. We have E for exercising or for reading in the morning, and then S, silence. That's the first S. The last S is scribing, it's writing.
Right, right.
And so I added on to that because, yes, the entrepreneurs that came on the show were saying the savers. They were like, I do these things to actually help me be powerful throughout the day. And then there were other things that they were saying, like drinking water. That's what hydrated. So that's where my hit savers, my hit is added to the savers, where hydration is a big piece of it. So that's the first
Mm.
H, is drinking water first thing in the morning to clear out brain fog and to also hydrate your body because you're fasting, right? I is that I am grateful. With the scribing piece of savers, it's writing and journaling, it's writing your goals. And then the
Mhm.
T, which is my favorite, T is time's up. Get your butt out of bed and make it.
Get out of bed and then make it up.
It breeds productivity. It allows you to accomplish your first task of the day, and then you get to come home to a clean bed.
Back when I was small, when I was little and growing up, we didn't go on a lot of vacations, but whenever we did go on vacation, we go stay at a hotel. And when you walk into the hotel, there's just this feeling of walking in and seeing a big, comfortable, clean,
Yeah.
freshly made bed. And so for me, a nicely made bed always brought back this feeling that I had of me going on vacations. When you come home and the bed is made, is much different than if you're walking in and it's messy and thrown all
Mhm.
around. So I agree with you. It's nothing like having a clean bed.
I have a quote that I put together that says, a made up bed is a made up mind.
Oh, I like that. People say that your outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. And so if your outer world is in disarray, if your outer world is chaos, then it's a reflection of what's going on inside of you. It's a reflection of your mental state and your emotional state and your spiritual state. So the best thing to do is you clean up your outer world and it starts to permeate inwardly as well. There's just something mental and psychological of having a clean space, a clean, made up, organized space, if affect and impact how you carry out your day.
It's priming your environment too. We're picking up cues. Our habits are designed by the environment that we're in. You can say
Absolutely.
environment can shape you. It's true. If you see drugs all around you all the time and chaos, sooner or later you become part of that. The same way that you should hang out with like-minded people. If you're trying to build a business, you hang out with business-minded people, and you've got to be careful who your circle is. It's a big trigger for your emotional being, for your habits, for your behaviors. You got to be very mindful. I like the piece you said about the inner work. I really believe what we do, I really believe that our success, our livelihood is an inside job. Our happiness is an inside job. It has to start within so that it can come out of you, right? The same way you're saying if your bed is not made up, you're mentally flustered. It's true.
Yeah.
But if you're calm and precise internally, then your outside will show that as well. And that's how we create our world.
And I think that's where the power of this whole morning practice to begin with is that you start with your inner world every day. And I think
Yeah.
for most people, it's the opposite. They immediately, the first thing they do is they grab their phone and they're immediately sucked in by the outer world. They're
Yeah.
sucked into their email inbox or social media. And all of a sudden, their entire day, their mental state, everything is dictated by the outer world, or they've never had a chance to start with themselves first. We both, as morning practitioners, we know how important that your morning practice is, where you're starting with yourself. The whole point of it is you start with yourself first every day. Do a couple things that's for you. Work out, meditate, journal, work on your goals. Starting with yourself first, now you've got momentum before the outer world ever has a chance to touch you.
Absolutely. And we want to start small because the brain doesn't like anything harsh and too fast. So it's slow and steady, and until it becomes habitual, until it moves from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind, we live there 95% of the time during the day. Great example is you driving home and not knowing how you got there. because you're on autopilot.
It's happened to me a bunch of times.
Because the brain has moved that route, your journey from the conscious mind, which is only 5% of the time you live there during the day, right,
Yeah,
to the back of your but the hindbrain, the back of your subconscious mind, and then it stores it there for a purpose, so that it can free up that 5%, so you can solve better problems, so you can think clearer. Because imagine if every time you got behind the wheels you had to relearn how to drive. that
absolutely.
that would be exhausting, mentally exhausting.
Yes, I agree. I want to dial it down to your top five, and I know you've already been kind of talking about the hit savers. We'll wrap that up into, let's say, morning routine, having a strong morning routine. But if someone is sitting there at home right now or listening to this, and they're at a place where they feel stuck, they know that they're destined for more, but they don't know how to get there, or maybe they don't even know that they're destined for more yet. Maybe they're frustrated. And if you were to tell them, what are 5 things you would tell them? Like, if you want to transform your life, if you want to turn around, if you want to break through any barriers where you're at right now, what are 5 things that they could do that could drastically improve or impact their life?
It's a journey, it's a process. So one thing that we could start with is the keystone habits. A morning routine is one of them, with that you once you start doing it, it will positively impact other areas of your life. Starting there, is morning routine. Doing your bed in the morning, you will see how that will help get you disciplined to the point where it's the smallest, minute thing that has the biggest impact. I'm not asking you to go see a psychologist. I'm not asking you to meditate for 5 hours. I'm just asking you to get up tomorrow and make bed and see what happens, and do it for 3 days. That's first and foremost, and it will dramatically change things. And then gratitude. 3 things that you're grateful for. Wake up with an attitude of gratitude, and that will show you more things to be grateful for in your day, and it will help with anxiety and depression and minimize those for you. If you can't think of anything, be grateful that you have working limbs. Be grateful the sun is shining today, or be grateful for the person laying next to you, the shelter over your head. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy. It could be simple, like, I'm grateful for this glass of water, because in Haiti we didn't have cleaning water. I'm grateful that I can have unlimited water. Some other
Right.
times it's that simple for me. Another thing to do is actually limiting beliefs. They run havoc in our life. And so being mindful of the dialogue that is going on in the mind. I like to say, be careful what you say to yourself, because you are listening. I'm talking about the chatter, the negative talk that goes on in there. I call them our automatic negative thoughts. We
Right.
have 60,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of the same ones from yesterday, and they're negative. So
That's right.
imagine how that is setting up the tone for the day when you wake up with those same thoughts from yesterday. So being mindful of what those are and how to eradicate them. Which is what part of what I do. That's what makes my program so successful. Is I don't just tell you what to do. Being the psychologist, we go in and find out what the onset of the belief when it started, and being able to pull it out so that
Mm.
it's easier for you to build habits. That's what's stopping you. That's what's holding you back, is that limiting belief. It's that negative chatter. Somebody once said you were not enough, you're not worthy, or you can't do something. And that stuck with you, and you develop a dialogue, a conclusion at a very young age. And it has been the driving force of your behavior. That's why it's hard to build habits. That's why you feel stuck. You're making money, but you're unhappy. Those are the
Yeah.
symptoms. Let's deal with the root cause. And once we find that and we move that, then the world is your canvas. Because I've had clients who come to me and says, I'm unhappy, my relationships are going to crap, I'm not happy at my job. And then they come to me, and once we work together for about 21 days, they go out and start businesses. They go out and lose 30 pounds that they've been carrying around for 10 years. It's because there's a pinch, there's a blockage. And once we
Yeah.
remove that blockage, then the floodgate opens up of possibilities. And so become aware of the
Of the
dialogue that is
thoughts.
going on inside.
I love it. And so, just to kind of recap, morning routine is paramount. Have that spend that first hour of the day really establishing your footing and your foundation, because it will determine how the entire day goes. So your morning routine, make your bed.
Mhm.
It's the keystone habit that kicks everything off. Starting the day with gratitude, being grateful for everything, the big and the small, and then being aware of your negative thoughts, because that's where a lot of your blockages are. Thank you, everyone. Go to the best morning routine ever and check out Lunide. She also has a really stellar podcast where she uncovers all these types of habits and goes really deep into how to get unblocked so you can see massive transformation in your life. With that being said, thank you so much, Lunide. Now it's your turn, heroes. Go out there, do more, be more, and achieve more than you ever have before. Get out there and go save the world. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.